Okay, let's try this again. I'm Quinn Moone, I write queer fairy tales, and hopefully the month of May, my TBR doesn't just go out the window. If anybody can tell, different setup, different background, I'm officially in Texas. I should be in Austin, Texas. I'm right outside it with my sister. I'm gonna be here for a minute while I get my whole life situation situated in Austin. So for now, this will be the setup. But hopefully, May can sort of resume a regular cadence. I realized I was really struggling to find normalcy when I don't have like a backlog of books to read. And as I was putting together the TBR for this month, I felt really lost and really confused. I had never truly appreciated how fortunate I am to be able to organize and plan things very easily, because as I was planning like the May TBR, I was just sitting there looking at my piece of paper and I'm just like, no idea what's happening here. No idea what I'm reading. I don't know why I should be reading any of this. So it was a very humbling experience to struggle to plan, which comes very naturally to me. So I have a list. I even have a cool graphic that I'm going to hopefully pop up here in my editing. And I'm excited. I set my expectations pretty low, nothing crazy. And hopefully this gets me back into the groove, because June is still Trojan history Bronze Age month. So we got to get back in the swing of things. First and foremost, I am trying to become a member of a book club here. So I want to read, let me see which one it is. The Sharing Knife Beguilement by Lois McMaster Bujold. I don't know much about it other than it's a Western fantasy. And they chose it. I'm like, sure, let's go. I have the book on audiobook, so I'm going to just listen to it. It's not very long. It seems pretty straightforward, so we'll see. But I know nothing other than it's a fantasy. It's a Western fantasy or something like that. The next book I'm going to read is called Disappearing Earth. That was recommended by my Chicago book club that I'm still in contact with, so I'm still reading the books that they want to read and the books that they choose. So Disappearing Earth, let me pull this up because I actually voted for this one the last time I was there. Disappearing Earth by Julia Phillips. One August afternoon on the shoreline of the northeastern edge of Russia, two sisters are abducted. That's kind of the only thing I needed to know to vote for this book. It sounds really interesting. First of all, it's cold. Like, I love the cold. And it's an abduction and it's a mystery. It sounds really fun. And I'm hoping I enjoy it because I also have that on audiobook. And my friend actually recommended that one. So I'm going to start talking to him about it because that just sounds like a really interesting premise. The next two books that I'm going to read. Wait. 1, 2. Innana and Gilgamesh. I read the back. So this is going to be really interesting because it's like a reimagining, obviously, of the Epic of Gilgamesh. So in this book, we follow Innana. She is the main character. In this book, we follow Gilgamesh. And then in the third book, we follow Ninjabar, which is a warrior woman. This is going to be an interesting retelling. Innana here is up against the Anunnaki. Everyone's at war. She is the key to, I guess, bringing everyone together. And she has to overcome a lot of dangerous situations. Now, what I do like is the way they describe Gilgamesh, because Gilgamesh was a jerk. Gilgamesh, a mortal human son of the Anunnaki and notorious womanizer, finds himself captured and imprisoned. Probably womanized himself right into jail. Gilgamesh here follows Gilgamesh as he's out to save his burning, I guess, city and his family that's on the run. And then Ninjabar, I'm not sure what the third one's going to be about. I'm assuming it's going to be just the wrap-up of the trilogy and focus on the warrior woman. So I want to get through these two. They seem like very straightforward and fun. It's just fiction. And I'm very familiar with the Epic of Gilgamesh, so I'm really interested to see how... All right. I'm familiar with the Epic of Gilgamesh. I'm not exactly familiar with Mesopotamian mythology and lore. So this is going to be interesting. I might have to do a little bit of like research and companion reading with Mesopotamian mythology, but really looking forward to both of these. I like a good spooky book, and this one's really short. I'm looking for T. Kingfisher and Cassandra Shaw vibes. The Crane Husband. It follows this crane that walks into this young girl's life as she is trying to keep her family afloat, and her mom is weaving, And this crane husband forces the woman to start making this basket, I guess, to weave this masterpiece. And it just sounds so surreal and disturbing and interesting. So I'm obviously going to read it. It's a retelling of The Crane Wife. So if I like this one, this is actually my first book by Kelly Barnhill. I will probably read more Kelly Barnhill. Wait, what's the dust jacket? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's just a book. Okay, I'm just like, wait, did I miss some like Easter egg art? No, I didn't. We're good. I'm really interested in this one. And it's short. So hopefully if I have some time to get into a little spooky mood, maybe if I pair it with spooky graphic novels, we'll see. It'll be a spooky weekend. Another book I'm reading in May, probably the priority of May, Moone. Moone by Samantha, Sotto, Yambao. This book, I have been waiting for it since it announced. A woman inherits a pawn shop where you can sell your regrets and then embarks on a magical journey when a charming young physicist wanders into the shop in this dreamlike and enchanting fantasy novel. A woman inherits a pawn shop where you can sell your regrets. Tell me that's not the most gorgeous premise with the most gorgeous cover. I have such high expectations of this book. If I don't like this book, like I don't know. I will be probably more disappointed than I was with The Nightmare Before Christmas, and that was some disappointment right there. If I don't like this book, I'm gonna feel crushed. I'm gonna feel betrayed. There's a lot riding on this book, and that's not fair to it that it's carrying like my entire reading mental state. I have to like this book. If I don't like this book, I'm going to question myself. I might be a fraud. I might not be a good reader. The book could not have done me any wrong. We will see. But this is probably going to be one of the most critical books of the year for me. And this book, I'll report back in June what happened. And I will obviously vlog it. And I have to like this book. I'm so nervous and excited. And because I didn't get to this in March because life kind of went sideways, the Tale of Genji. This guy is still here. And I'm going to keep reading him. I have so many articles that I got, like supplemental articles. I'm like, man, I made out like a bandit at the library. I am so happy. I'm on page 300. I have so many thoughts about this book. So many thoughts. And I'm going to start collecting my thoughts. I'm going to keep reading. I don't know if I have like a really aggressive goal to finish this in May. That just sounds really crazy. But I do want to finish this by the end of the year. And definitely get some essays going. I don't know when I'll finish the essays just because of how many there are, how many thoughts I have on this book. Like, the book as one of the greatest pieces of literature ever written. The book as a romance the way it was meant. The characters, the dynamics, the social commentary, because I don't believe that Lady Murasaki just wrote this without thinking of just the social commentary that she is making. She wrote this because this was her only way to poke fun at her society. And I'm troubled that I don't find more commentary on the fact that this is almost satire. Like, that 5 pages of this was just nonsense. Yes, it's probably what actually happened in the Heian court of Japan. But there is a whole section of like on women and like the value of women and how to find a good woman. And it is all the most absurd nonsense. And I cannot believe that Lady Murasaki wrote this in 1000 CE and she's not like, yeah, this is absolutely ridiculous, guys. Because just because they're in 1000 CE doesn't mean that they're above that. They can still feel that. People are still people, no matter where they are. If anything, this book just proves how simple and consistent humans are. We are all consistently garbage, just, all over. And I want to talk about it. Also, straight up. Chuji is in love with Genji. Genji knows, and Genji also likes Chuji. I can't ever not see them as like the bromance that was, because honestly, how do you read this and not think that Chuji is in love with Genji? It's Chuji, right? Let me go to my notes. Oh, cute sticker. Hold up. Tono Chuji, yeah. That guy loves Genji and would be with Genji. if he was beautiful enough. He probably did get with Genji, but we can't know that because of the translators. And these translators are Westerners, and Western history in the West says that gayness is bad, and it's not. So I actually, can you see it? It's right here. It's right off screen. I actually got a different translation of the Tale of Genji to compare passages because I cannot read the original text. Some Japanese scholars can't even read the original text. But I swear there is something between Chuji and Genji, and I'm not making it up. Like, I'm so aware of me reading queerness into everything because I do that for fun, and I'm like, oh my god, they're totally queer. No, they're not, actually. And they're so into each other. But I'll have a whole rant about that later. But that book is going to just be a kind of recurring thread throughout the year until I complete it because it was really interesting. And I didn't count on life going sideways in March. I would have finished it by now, or almost finished it by now. That is what I'm reading for the month of May. Very simple, straightforward. There are actually a couple of books that I got on my move because buying books when you're moving is obviously what you're supposed to be doing. And I really want to read them, but they just sound like heartbreak on a page. And I read the first page of one of these books and I was just like tearing up. So I'm not going to add them to this list. If I get to them, I get to them. If I don't, I don't, because I deserve a month without heartbreak, I think. But then again, I like heartbreak, especially gay heartbreak, and that's what this is. So we will see. Change your mind. Hold up. These are the two books in question. The Love in the Belly by Jim Grimsley. I've never really read a Jim Grimsley book that wasn't heartbreak. And Run Away With Me by Brian Selznick. I got it because I like Jim Grimsley. I got this because of the cover. Because it says, Danny is 16 and spending his summer in Rome. I think it's unfair to this book. It's my fault if I'm disappointed. I see this and I see the sequel that I needed for Call Me By Your Name. If you've read Call Me By Your Name, it is one of the most beautiful books I've ever read. And there's apparently one that's even better, the one that inspired Call Me By Your Name, which I will be reading and buying from a book and translation bookshop here in Austin in July, but TBD on that. I read Call Me By Your Name and it wrecked my soul. I still think about that book a lot. I read the sequel. I'm still processing that it wasn't what I wanted. And it's been almost, 8 years or so? I'm not even sure at this point. I saw this and I read the back. We turned hand in hand and fell off the edge of the world into the dark, wild abyss of Rome. I feel like this is the sequel I needed for Call Me By Your Name, and I'm not ready for it. And it's quite thick. It has art. The art already makes me cry. This is going to be an emotional ride. Actually, oh my goodness. Memorial Day weekend is this month. I might tackle this Memorial Day weekend and just sob my eyes out for 3 days. This won't take me 3 days. But just this book is currently what's haunting me with Moone. Shut up. I'm moving books. These two. This isn't even on my little panel. I have to update it. This one is like the secret gem that I might be brave enough to tackle. This one I will tackle and I must like it. But if either of these two disappoint, I feel like I'll cry. Like, I'll be really sad and I'll come back just looking for emotional support. So we'll see. Okay. That is what I'm reading in May. That is the list. Barring life going bizarrely sideways again, which I'm hoping it doesn't. So fingers crossed we get through the list. Let me know what you're reading in May. I would love to just kind of resume normal life again. So tell me what you're reading. Tell me your thoughts. Have you read anything I am going to read this month? And if you have, tell me what you think. Without spoilers, please, because don't spoil these two. I don't care about the other ones, but you can't spoil these two. All right. Catch you next time. Bye.